day. Welcome to Music Motors. Welcome to the 2019 Audi S6. Now the current generation S6, this new one, is nothing like any generation we've had before because it's diesel. Now there's tons of speculation as to why it's become diesel. My thinking is most likely ever since Porsche decided to scrap diesel in its entirety, Volkswagen, old Audi group, had quite a few engine blocks laying around and they wanted to put use to them. But at the same time, we're also coming to the end of the cycle within Audi. I believe that we are about to see them phase out diesels in their entirety. So this is kind of their way of saying, look what we could have done with a diesel. Now this one, so it's a 3-litre V6, it's 350 PS, best part of 700 newton meters of torque, 5 seconds to 60, and a limited top speed of 155. Now when you consider that this is hot hatch fast, the previous generation was only about half a second to a second faster in its entirety. However, on the motorway you won't notice a difference, it's only around town, but I'm going to get more into that. This is the 2019 Audi S6 and welcome to Music Motors. So outside is Audi design language Central. Now this one's finished in Navara blue. It does also have the optional 21-inch alloys which ride the road surprisingly well, but also look absolutely immense. They are humongous, they're gargantuously big, but they give this amazing sleek luxury exterior design which suits this car down to a T. So front end wise, it is that new Audi design language. It's sharp yet at times smooth. They've got the best of both worlds. When it comes to your side profile, nothing's too large. The proportions work. This doesn't look like a huge car, but it is quite a big car. And the back end, everything kind of comes together, and then you have this finished exterior design which just looks simply incredible. The front LED matrix headlights are incredible at lighting up the road ahead and also lighting up around the person in front of you, because you can have high beam on while you're behind someone, which is quite incredible. They also have a fancy little trick display when they turn on at night, as do the rear lights. Generally though, the exterior design of this is really luxurious. The A8, the S8, to me has slightly different proportions which aren't as nice, aren't as sleek and sporty, where this S6 really does look the part, really looks sporty, looks executive, looks luxury. It does everything all under one look. But this Navara blue, a £700, £800 option, is an absolute essential because it looks incredible finished in this. And honestly, for the sake of about 1400 quid, get the 21-inch alloys. It's a no-brainer. One thing I just want to quickly add to the exterior look of this, it doesn't shout S. A lot of S cars now within the Audi range are starting to shout less and less performance, mainly because they're wanting the RS models to beat performance. So as a result, this looks like, well, an A6 3-litre diesel, which technically is, but it drives nothing like one. It is gig time, and gig time means equipment in the back, which I'll show you now. It means driving on the motorway. It means going into central London, finding out what this S6 is all about, what fuel economy is, what the general feel of it is, how comfortable it is, how well it deals with central London. So let's go. Right, that was a long one. I've arrived. Surprisingly, even with traffic, accelerating to get out of junctions, all sorts of general London stuff, I've returned over 42 miles to the gallon, which for the type of vehicle this is, the size of it, with the type of power it got, is quite surprising. Very comfortable, pretty quiet on the motorway. Not mega quiet, but considering it's on 20s, pretty quiet. The biggest thing to note from this is the size of the screen for Android Auto, even an Apple CarPlay, is superb for navigating. It really is top notch. And now, onto the gig. By the way, I fit in a parking space which is pretty tight, and I'm next to another A6, so can't be that difficult to park these, because these spaces are really tight. Okay, gig done, onto the drive home. Couldn't show you the gig, private members club, cameras weren't really even allowed in. But now it's for the fun drive home and seeing just what the combined is, just how this did with my gigging test. Home, and really I'm quite surprised by how well this did. I was expecting alright fuel economy, up to like 36 combined, which is roughly what Audi claim, but this turned around 41.9 combined, including traffic in central London. It was superbly comfortable and wafty, equally giving you a great amount of fun when you had a bit of road that you could put your foot down on. It was perfect for the journey. Visibility is quite good. And as I said earlier, the infotainment screen size is really good. It's a great way to go about a very long day, and for when it comes to night driving, these superb headlights are simply that, superb. Saw everything. I'm really tired, but this car made that drive an absolute joy. Inside, it is absolutely packed to the brim with technology and comfort, and the super sport seats are also brilliantly holding and comfortable and warm with the heated seat on. Visibility from the driver's position is extraordinarily good. This vehicle does not feel as big as it is from the driver's seat. However, your passengers do note how big it is. The position is very comfortable though. Everything's at your fingertips, and these haptic displays here, brilliant. Really good design. However, they do get quite dirty quite fast. If you've got greasy fingertips, make sure you have a cloth with you at all times. The cockpit display is good, adaptive. I constantly had it in S mode, I believe, because one of them kind of just gives you bars. I want actual dials. There is a fair bit of plastic, but it's good plastic, and it's also given to imply leather. So it's got stitching across the dashboard. Front end wise, there's loads of headroom. No matter how tall you are, you're going to fit in. And even in my seating position, I'm about 5'10". There is so much space in the back that you could quite easily use this as a luxury limo. Your backseat passengers, by the way, they do get their own climate control, which they can use, which is on a digital display. And it is really comfortable back there. This is when you drive it in comfort, a very sedate and luxurious automobile. Stick it in dynamic and you get a bit of... The boot space is pretty phenomenal, I'm not going to lie about that. I mean, you could take easily 2 sets of golf clubs in there. Passed my gig test with flying colours with space to spare. However, if it didn't have the cutaway, it may not have actually taken the base itself. There's loads of room back there, but because of how low this is and the type of suspension this vehicle has, it means there's quite a lot of ingress into the cabin. Generally though, the interior is such a lovely and luxurious and comfortable and quiet place to be. Bells and Wilkins system does sound great, however as standard does lack quite a lot of bass. What I found myself doing was just turning up the subwoofer just ever so slightly, and then it was perfect. The infotainment screen and the haptic screen, whilst they do get dirty, are absolutely fantastically sized. As in, if you run Apple CarPlay or Android Auto and use things like Waze or Google Maps, the screen size is absolutely brilliant at showing you everything at a really good viewing distance. However, because they're a bigger screen, it then means that when you want to push stuff as you're going along, if it's a bit bumpy, you will struggle to push the screen. But not the end of the world. It is a very good system and a perfectly sized screen. From this cockpit area, everything is touch, everything is within reach, and from that driving point of view, it's lovely for everything to be there. You never find yourself reaching out of the way or feeling uncomfortable to turn something on. It all just falls under your fingertips. Thinking about driving one of these around town, then you want to stay tuned for this bit. This is the town test. Nothing too mega, just driving around town, seeing what the fuel economy is like, seeing what the comfort's like, visibility. This is my city test. Let's go. Okay, passenger side of the car, because why not? I turned around over 30 to the gallon. Well, what do you reckon? 33.4. Now, I wasn't careful at any point. If I needed to go, if I needed to blip out, I did. It was a real driving It wasn't super frugal, and it still turned it around. It's so surprising how effortless it is around town. Slight lag off the mark, but generally pretty good. Visibility is brilliant, and this does not feel the size it is in the slightest. Tight driving situations are not tight at all in reality. Really comfortable, really quiet around town. Could you ask for more? Now, performance is where the S6 has got quite a lot of criticism, because technically it's not as fast as the previous generation. A 3-litre V6, 350 PS for the most part, because some people are going to say, oh, but actually it's 349 PS. It's easier to say 350. 700 newton meters of torque, 5 seconds to 60, limited top speed of 155. It is very, very quick off the mark, but there is a slight bit of lag. Now, be it because it's a big diesel engine with a huge turbo strap to it, may be the case, but once you're going, you really do not feel that much difference between this and the previous generation. However, the noise isn't quite as good, so on top of the fact that there aren't real exhaust pipes at the back, they've got a synthetic noise emulator at the back, which isn't just inside the car, it also generates noise outside the car. As a result, it means you can hear the car inside and out and give you that almost V8 vibe, which I believe is what they were going for anyway. The performance is very, very good though, and the torque does pull you. On the motorway, you do not notice any difference between this and the previous generation. The pull is really, really identical, helping to the fact that it's a diesel with 700 newton meters of torque. On back roads is where the S6 really surprised me, because I've driven previous generations and you can feel their weight just a little bit. They are lovely to drive, but you are implicitly aware of how big they are. However, this one doesn't feel its weight at all. Bearing in mind with the driver in, they say it weighs almost 2,000 kilograms, and it is a big car. Dare I say it feels nimble. It feels almost Golf-like to be able to flick around the back roads, and it is really adaptive and deals with road and changing conditions on the road itself so well, because it's so big. The all-wheel drive system only ever shows its face when you're pushing slightly too fast through a corner, when maybe you shouldn't have put your foot down, and that's driver error. A standard this comes with P0s on, which for me don't suit this car. They're a little bit too slidey. I would have liked to have seen Pilot Sport 4s, 4Ss on it. Nice, softer compound, I think would have suited this car a lot better. But equally, maybe it churns tyres because of the torque, but maybe that's why they've done it. From an economy point of view, they claim up to about 36, 37 miles per gallon combined, and it is a really, really achievable figure. On most long runs I did in this, I saw like 42 to the gallon. Around town, honestly, unless you are a terrible driver, and I'm not saying terrible, just like you're constantly like that, putting your foot down, you will honestly see 30, generally maybe about 34. Put it in economy, maybe even more than that, but what I did also find is that the difference between dynamic and economy driving mode wasn't really that much. On a longer run, maybe we were talking about 3 miles per gallon difference, and I'd much rather have the instant torque and the engine emulator going constantly. The steering feel is lovely. It's light but equally engaging. The pedal feel is instant and offers really good feedback when you're pushing it quite hard. And this really does feel like a very balanced vehicle, especially considering its size and what really it's made to do. At no point on back roads did I feel it letting go. At higher speeds, coming off ramps, taking some nice turns, clipping the apexes. It is smooth, it is composed, and it is controlled. But I'm not quite sure it's what you expect from an S car. But that's only from the engine point of view, because from the driving characteristical point of view, it feels just like an S car that I expect, and it feels better than the previous generation S6. But from that engine point of view, you expect a bit more fuss when you put your foot down. This wafts away in almost silence, and even with the engine emulator, it's not that loud, whereas the previous generation had a bit of grunt about it. But really that's it, because from the outside, it looks amazing in any way that you spec it, it's going to look good, but looks especially good in Navara blue with 21-inch alloys. The inside is truly luxurious and executive, and Everything you could possibly want is at your fingertips, and it's got so much technology, it's a no-brainer. And that performance is really good, mixed with incredible fuel economy for the type of vehicle it is. I love this car. I think it's a really, really good car to drive, and it's an amazing daily car because finally you don't have to worry about those V8 fuel bills. But the engine is not quite what you expect from an S car, not to say it's bad, and I'm more than happy with it. But anyone who's run S cars their entire life will be complicitly aware it's not a V8, and they won't be happy about that. So the sooner Audi get out of this diesel in the S4 and the S6 and go back to petrol, be it a hybrid or, God forbid, a fully electric one, the sooner people will come back to buying these who wanted a petrol one. Anyone who was really, really adamant that they wanted a petrol V8 S6, they're not going to buy this 3-litre V6 diesel, are they? But they're missing out. And if you're watching this and you're one of those, go and try one. I know it feels wrong that it's a diesel, but once you drive it, it feels so right.